Get up. Get up. Well, get up. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up.
Come on, kick the funk. Rock to the rhythm, go. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. Cause ghetto funk has got to beat the show shot. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. So who the squad that'll make the house drop? Ghetto funk with the rhythm, you don't stop. Cause the squad has got to beat the show shot. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. So who the squad that'll make the house drop? Ghetto.
Get up. Get up. Well, get up. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up.
Here we go. Rock to the rhythm, go. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. Cause ghetto funk has got to beat the show shot. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. So who the squad that'll make the house drop? Ghetto funk with the rhythm, you don't stop. Cause the squad has got to beat the show shot. I said rock to the rhythm, you don't stop. So who the squad that'll make the house drop? Ghetto. That's right.
Get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. It's like that, y'all. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Come on. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Well, get up. Get up to the up rock. Get down and shake it when the beat drop. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Yeah, how about you?
So I've had a really good, productive first day. So what the way the guys responded as far as what we kind of set out for these guys as far as the expectation for this week. Energy was good, effort was good. Just talking about matching some of those details. Still, again, we're playing together as a team, unifying the team, and ready for the challenge. Ready to go. So you guys have the injury report. We'll obviously know more as the week goes on as far as these guys' availability. Everyone still has an opportunity to play, so we'll just see as the week goes on.
Thomas, what do you believe your impact can be in sort of setting the direction for a positive finish to this season for the group?
My impact, I think my goal has always been the same from day one as far as being in a leadership position. Again, my goal is to make people and situations better. So being consistent every single day with my message, being deliberate, finding ways to challenge the group, but also uplift them. So I do believe in them. I told them a minute ago after practice that there is no confidence lost at all as far as what I think about them. Don't care what everybody else thinks about them. I think we have a very talented football team, and it's about just putting the work in every single day to give us an opportunity to go win.
How do you process or how do you compartmentalize? You have this immediate responsibility of this game and the next 4 games, but it's also a massive career opportunity for you.
Don't think about that at all. Let's think about just a moment. They did a really good job trying to help me stay level-headed and not, make the moment bigger than what it is. Obviously, understand the role that I'm in, understand what might come with it, but also understand that we make most situations bigger than what it has to be because of the outside noise, what everybody else puts a value on it. I have a job to do. I'm excited about my job and committed to it every single day.
So you probably didn't like me calling it a massive career opportunity in the question.
I didn't. I let you kind of put the titles you want to put on it, but I kind of have my own thought process of it. I've always had the thought process every job I've had to try to excel at a high level. What I realized about this profession is if you are bad at your job, they move on from you. If you're good at your job, they give you an opportunity to stay around. And if you're great at your job, you get elevated. So my thought process was always to be the best I can be, not make it about myself, and let the chips fall where they may.
You talked to
That is Thomas Brown, head coach of the Chicago Bears, at his first game in week press conference, and that's how it started. And I love the guy. I know he's got a lot to prove on the football field as a head coach, but he's got a great opportunity here to prove that in the next 5 games. I just get the sense that Thomas Brown is going to be a special coach. He has the experience and has worked alongside the types of coaches that we want to bring onto this team. He might be young, he might be inexperienced, but to me, he shows tremendous potential to be an incredible head coach. And so hopefully he will display that over the next 5 games, because if he doesn't, then what will happen is he'll end up being a head coach of another team in a couple of years, and he will be awesome, and we will all say we should have kept him and so forth, which is not what a lot of people are saying. I think it's safe to say that I'm in the minority. Anyway, welcome to Bear Their Souls. This is the first show after Dan Aguirre, and I really feel kind of bittersweet. I'm excited about the new opportunity to redesign a show here in the network. Is one of the things that I like to do. But I'm also really sad that my good friend Dan Aguirre is not on the show, and his enormous talent and what he brought to the show with his knowledge of football, his comedic skills, his history, his passion for the team. It's going to be sorely missed. The good news is that Johnny Santucci is still on the show. He will join us in the second hour with his Bears State of Affairs, and then he and I will discuss Bears things and a couple of movies that I recently saw. One I know for sure that he recommended, and I want to smack him in the face for recommending the film, but we'll get to that a little later. I know a lot of you people in the chat room are commenting on tonight's guest, David Kaplan from ESPN 1000. And I gotta say, I know some people like Leroy Green saying David Kaplan is a coward. Well, I asked him why, and so I'm not sure he responded. Oh, he called Justin Fields a coward. Yeah, I agree with you, Leroy. That was not a good moment for Cap. I agree with you. He should not have said that. That was, Cap is a very classy guy in many, many ways. When I call to ask him for a favor to be on the show, he never says no. He always says yes. So he's classy in that way. But that comment was not his one of his finer moments. So I agree with you on that. But I did talk with David today. I did the interview earlier today. So this is a pre-recorded interview. So if you've got a question for Cap, sorry, he's probably out having a fine dinner with his lovely family somewhere and enjoying life. But so no questions, but feel free to comment. And if it's something useful, I'll flash it up on the screen during his interview. So without further ado, why don't I go to that interview right now, play it for you, and then on the other side, I will talk and share some clips from today's press conference, and then we'll welcome the Tooch in the next hour. I am here with a guy who is ex-bio says media personality, but it should say the biggest media personality in Chicago. He is the host of ESPN 1000's The Cap and Jay Hood Show.
Of what in the hell are we doing?
He is streaming on, what is the show called that you're streaming? The Recap on YouTube.
Right there behind me, the Recap on YouTube.
I love it.
Recaps after every Cubs, Sox, Bears, Bulls game. We have a bunch of Bears shows. We have a White Sox podcast with Ryan McGuffey and Brian Anderson. We have a Cubs podcast with Gordon Wittenmeyer, a Bulls with Joe Colley. So tons of content.
My gosh, it's a conglomerate. It's you started your own network, and it's outstanding with all that talent. So congratulations on that and everything else that you've accomplished in your career. I really appreciate you being here, Mr. Kaplan.
Thanks for asking.
You bet. Hey, I want to focus on the Chicago Bears because this show is dedicated to the Bears. And I got to begin with Matt Eberflus. You did a weekly show during the season with Matt every Monday morning before his public press conference. What did you get out of Matt Eberflus during those weekly conversations you had with him?
Unfortunately, not a lot. That's the problem. I heard Rex Ryan say on Mike Greenberg's great show, Get Up, that he believes that this was before, obviously, Matt got fired, that Matt should never go to the podium again, take the fine, and you're just not good at that. And he was not good at that particular aspect of his job. He just wasn't. Jonathan Hood and I tried very, very hard because we know they're a partner at ESPN 1000. The Bears games air there. We're the home of the Bears. We tried to be nice and friendly and welcoming. The problem was he wouldn't give you anything. Literally, hey, coach, is the sky blue? We just got to execute better. Coach, is 2 + 2 4? We just got to execute better, right? And it just wasn't his thing. We tried hard. He tried. Good person. Just not a very good head football coach.
I love the looks Jay Hood would give to you. I watch on YouTube, and he's just like looking at you saying, is he doing this again?
It was great. Unbelievable. And Hoodie would look at me like, really? And then, there were times, because I've always said this, I'm not broadcasting for Matt Eberflus or the GM or the owner or Tom Ricketts or whoever it is in town, Jerry Rogers. I always believed, I wasn't a pro athlete. I wasn't a former Bear. I believed that I am broadcasting for every person out there that is kind enough to honor me by listening, watching, interacting with our content. And so if I get an opportunity and Matt Eberflus says, we didn't need a timeout before the Hail Mary. Well, that's bullshit. Sorry if I couldn't swear.
No, you can swear.
You had Tyreek Stevenson up in the corner playing with the fans. What are you talking about? And, then he calls in a few weeks ago with me and Hoodie, and phone's breaking up. Hoodie says, we'll put him on hold. He comes back.
Coach?
Sorry, guys. Phone starts breaking up again. And I say to him, Coach, your cell phone's as bad as the offense right now.
All right, we'll put them on hold and
Of course, that went viral.
Yeah, I posted it on my X account, and yeah, I got, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of hits on it. It was a priceless moment, and I want to give you credit because I think you deserve at least a smidgen of credit at exposing the guy. And I hate to kick a guy when he's down, but clearly he was ineffective, a terrible communicator, and you helped to expose that further than just the press conferences that he had. So congratulations to you on helping to kick that guy out of town.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying it. Again, I don't wish someone to lose their job, but let's also be fair. This is pro sports. He's making $5 million a year, and he has 2 more years to get paid. So, you know, when they come out and say, well, we didn't want to fire the guy on Thanksgiving, really? Because the Bulls fired Scott Skiles and Tim Floyd, or Bill Cartwright and Tim Floyd on Christmas Eve. I had to cover those press conferences. It's pro sports, man. It's a big boy league. It is what it is. So there's a difference firing him after you let him do a Zoom conference on Friday, then Thursday night going, Matt, don't come in tomorrow. It's not working. We appreciate you. You'll get your money, and thanks a lot.
Yep, exactly. And that's a good segue to the press conference Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles held. I got to tell you, that was one of the worst that's ever come out of that organization. I was actually embarrassed to be a Chicago Bears fan. What were your impressions of it?
Yeah, I was highly disappointed in the press conference because they cut off questions at the end. I think it was Colleen Kane asked a really good question, had a follow-up, and they're gone. Out. Look, I'm not expecting them, and I am a Ryan Poles guy. I think he's a really good GM. He looked like he was in a hostage video in that press conference.
Yes, he did.
All I want to hear is Ryan's our GM. He will be leading the search. He will bring his choice to us. And as president and owner, chairman of the board, we will give him our thoughts and approve it if we think it's the right thing. But it should be Ryan Poles who makes the pick. So then if it doesn't work out, you could say, Ryan, we let you pick your guy and it did not work out, period. Right. Or, hey, man, we're giving you a brand new contract with a whole lot of green in it because you did a great job. Well, so if it works out, Kevin Warren could take the credit with George, and it doesn't work out, Ryan gets hung out to dry. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. And I hate to be critical of Kevin Warren, but when he came in, when he was announced, I was happy because I saw I think it was on HBO, they did a feature on him on the old Bryant Gumbo show, and he was Big Ten commissioner at the time, and it was clear that this guy was articulate, smart, he got the big TV deal for the Big Ten, he had other accomplishments in life, he had a childhood injury that he was courageous enough and had the fortitude to overcome and ends up playing basketball. But then he comes to the Chicago Bears, and we're regressing with the progress on the stadium. And his performance at that press conference where he started saying, I this, I that, I that, it was about him.
When I started this journey 20 months ago, I knew there would be days like this that would be challenging.
And now it seems to me like perhaps his personality is too big for this team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he was brought here to get a stadium built. I don't want him in football operations. Yes, he's the president of the team. Yes, he's Ryan's boss. But this should be who my GM, it's like an athletic director. I've never understood, and I was a college coach for 4 years. I've never understood when you're going to hire a new head basketball coach or a new head football coach that you're going to have a lady from the theater department and a guy from the English department and a lady from HR and a lady from here and a guy from that department. And they're all going to sit in a room and interview the candidates. What the hell do they know about coaching college basketball? Nothing. And it's the same thing with we're going to put a committee together. They said this at the press conference, Aldo. They said we got to put a committee together. No, you don't. Ryan Poles is paid well. Ryan Poles has a great resume. He started to do a really good job building this team back. They should have 7 wins. You don't lose the Washington game, the blocked field goal at the end of the Green Bay game, and give them one other, whether that's Indianapolis, whether if you don't lose the Hail Mary, maybe you don't lose to a lousy New England team. I mean, they should be at the worst, 7-5. And instead, here they sit at 4-8, and their season is over. And I think that's truly pathetic.
saving grace from that press conference was Thomas Brown's appearance, because he is impressing the heck out of me. And listen to what he said, this 20-second soundbite I have from today's press conference when he was asked about Caleb Williams's growth and was he concerned that now he has more responsibilities, can he develop Caleb as quickly as needed?
Well, I would say first off, I am not the sole person responsible for Caleb's development. He has a big part in that. Obviously, I've been charged with kind of leading the way with him and the team now as well. But I think his response has been awesome. My job is to be an effective communicator, be honest and be direct about what he's doing well, what he's not doing well. And I have the same exact message for the team.
Cap, I hope you do a weekly show with this guy. He is tremendous, isn't he?
He's really good. But here's my question. You've been around as long as I have. North has been around as long as I have or longer. You have seen how many failed quarterbacks. I think we finally got it right, and we have the guy. Are you entrusting the development and emergence of Caleb Williams to, as much as I love listening to Thomas Brown, you're making him the head coach? I'm not. I need someone who's far more proven, whether that is Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, Brian Flores, Arthur Smith, whoever it is, or Ben Johnson. Whoever you go get is going to be more experienced than Thomas. Now, you want to keep Thomas in the organization? I'm totally cool with that. But I'm not going to judge him on the next 5 games, because for me, that's a micro look. I'm taking a macro look. What do I have to do to fix my shitty culture? He said it himself at his first press conference as head coach. He said, yeah, we've got some divisions in the room. Things didn't go well. We got to meld and bring everybody back together and heal. Okay, that's all well, fine. I can't trust. He may be great. Maybe he is, as someone said, the next Mike Tomlin. Awesome. I'm taking that chance with the golden ticket at quarterback. I can't do that.
What if he and the Bears win 3 out of the remaining 5 games, and then you, of course, have to give him an interview, and he comes to you, Cap, and he comes to the Bears management and says, okay, here is who I would bring in as offensive coordinator. I've already talked to him. Here's who I would bring in as my quarterback coach, a quarterback whisperer, and he starts to make a convincing case about the staff, the supplemental people who are going to develop Caleb, like he talked about in that soundbite. Would you then perhaps reconsider him as head coach?
I probably would not, because, again, if you told me we've got some 34-year-old veteran and he's playing quarterback, okay, we could work our way toward developing our head coach. This kid's a rookie. And I get one bite at the apple to make sure that's my guy for the next 10 to 15 years. And I got to trust him based on a 5-game sample where, if we're really fair about this, and I think he would agree, if we're really fair, they scored 19 points against Green Bay. That was enough to win one other game that week in the National Football League. Minnesota, you're down 24-10. And you come with a furious comeback back, which was much more off-platform stuff rather than, wow, did you see how the offense was changed and looked? Then you played Detroit. You got shut out with the worst offensive performance of the season in the first half. So it's not as though everything was, oh, my God, do you see what the Bears look like now? No, I can't give them the job.
Okay. Are you in favor of potentially looking into a trade for a head coach? I know Kevin Fishbane wrote about it in The Athletic today. A bunch of Bears bloggers have been speculating about what that would look like. What do you say? Would you give a call to find out about the head coach over in San Francisco or over in Minnesota to see if they would like to make a trade?
100%. Now, I don't think Minnesota is going to trade you, Kevin O'Connell. I don't. In the division, that would stun me. I'd love to have him or Matt LaFleur or Dan Campbell, any of the other 3 in the division. Now, if San Francisco ends up deciding we're not giving Brock Purdy $60 or $62 million, we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to get rid of Trent Williams and Ayuk, and McCaffrey's gone because he's so injury prone and is all banged up again. And they decide, you know what, Kyle Shanahan, you don't want to be part of a rebuild. We're taking this thing back down to the ground and building it back up. Yeah, I would absolutely be willing to give them good, solid draft capital to acquire who I think is a really good football coach. If Sean McVay says, I got a 36 or 37-year-old quarterback, we're going to rebuild in Los Angeles, I want out and I want to go somewhere else, I'll coach Caleb Williams. Let's go. I would absolutely consider that. Pittsburgh's not going to let Mike Tomlin get away, but I would call, there's probably 10 jobs that I would call and see, can I get that guy? And if I could, I'd absolutely be open to making a deal.
Do you think Caleb Williams has been hurt by the dysfunction that is the Chicago Bears organization?
Wow, that's a really good question. I don't think so, because guys I talked to on that team have said this cat's different. He is absolutely strong-minded and able to handle all the adversity that's come his way, the sacks, everything. But that's why you have to get someone with cachet who walks in here and says, okay, guys, shit's about to change here. It's going to be a little different. I remember I was telling this story on the radio to Hoodie this morning. My brother and I went up to Lake Forest. This is like 1982. My brother was a student at Lake Forest College. We go up there. Ditka's the new head coach. It's a gorgeous summer afternoon. They're up at the old Lake Forest College Hallis Hall, and Ditka is screaming at the team, and they're running sprints. And Noah Jackson, Buddha, number 65, big, huge gut, good player, though, at guard.
Yeah.
He's lagging behind because Ditka's killing these guys in the hot summer sun. And he turns to the whole crowd. He goes, you see what Boo and Neil Armstrong got us? He guy's a maniac. And they ended up getting rid of him shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
We need a guy with cachet who walks in and says, shit's about to change, guys. Here's good news. We're going to the Super Bowl. Bad news, a lot of you won't be there.
Famous Ditka statement. Absolutely. Cap, I'm interested in learning, what is your relationship like with the Chicago Bears? In other words, I love the team. I'm angry at them. It's like, one of my ex-wives. I loved her, but I was angry at her.
Right.
How do you feel about this Chicago Bears organization?
And by the way, I have one of those too. Look, I love the Bears. I'm a big fan of Ryan Poles. I think he's a really good football guy. But I'm also angry with them that my kids, who I have made Bears fans, who are now in their 30s, 30, 31, 33, and 34. Those are my 4 sons. And all of them have said, thanks for making us Bears fans. We really appreciate it. We've seen very little in the way of success. Other than 2018, they haven't seen, I believe, a winning season.
Yeah.
And so that's truly pathetically sad. Pathetically sad. Because they were too young back in 06 when Olin and Urlacher and those guys were going to the Super Bowl. So they don't really remember that. But here we are now, and they're bad. But I love the Bears. It's in my blood, man. That's why I get so ticked off. People say to me, boy, I watched you on your recap. I heard you on ESPN 1000. Do you really get that mad? You're damn right I do. I take it that serious. When I get up on a Sunday, my son Brett and I are going to head downstairs and set all the TVs up with NFL Network and Red Zone and that game and this game. Hey, man, I'm into it. And when I'm standing there on Thanksgiving Day going, call a godforsaken timeout, what are you doing? And I get beat red. My wife's like, hon, relax. You're not there. They can't hear you. Well, maybe they can, because this is bullshit.
Yeah. I love your passion. All right. In the last few minutes that I got you, I'd like to just do some rapid fire things. Who is the most disappointing player to you from this current Chicago Bears team?
Most disappointing player from this current Chicago Bears team? That's a great question. I mean, in mass, I would say to you the offensive line would be the most disappointing position group. Look, Jalen Johnson was the number 1 ranked cornerback on Pro Football Focus a year ago. This year, he's in the 30s. Highly disappointing season from him. I'd say to him, you're better than that. He's quick to run his mouth. Very entertaining. I listen to him. When he's on the score, he's great. When he speaks to the media in the press room, he's awesome. But you're a better player than what you've shown. Another one is Cole Kmet. What are you doing blocking like a lineman down the field? I mean, he was, ranked a top 10 guy a year ago. He's ranked 25th or 26th this year. You're better than that. And DJ Moore got paid unbelievable money. He's a really good guy to deal with. He's ranked like in the high 20s, low 30s as a receiver this year. He was a top 15 guy a year ago. DJ, you're better than that. We've seen these expressions where he's mad and he's sulking. And come on, man. Pick your head up and let's go. So those would be three guys I would tell you I'm highly disappointed in.
Great names. The next person I'd like you to comment on is Bill Belichick. A lot of talk about maybe reaching out to him. Your thoughts?
Look, there's no doubt he's one of the 5 greatest coaches in the history of the sport. There's a bunch of names you could put in there, but he's on any list, whether it's Nick Saban or Bill Belichick. I mean, Bear Bryant, rest in peace. Like, there were some amazing coaches, Vince Lombardi. But my question would be, okay, you're 72. You got a 23-year-old girlfriend. You're posing at Halloween as a fisherman reeling in the mermaid, and she's laying on the beach in a mermaid outfit. How much energy do you have to do this? Because I watched you at 52, 53, have a friend who played for him. He said, dude, that guy's a beast. That's all he does is work and learn football. Off season, he takes a little time for himself. But during the season, oh, my God, the depth of knowledge he had about every player on the other team was incredible. He was always studying, always watching film. Are you going to give me that guy? Or are you the guy with the Taylor Swift sweatshirt on with the smoking hot 23-year-old girlfriend? I don't know. I know I would bring him in for an interview. I think he's going to Jacksonville. I think that's the job he wants. But if he's coming in and interviewing in Chicago, I want him to be brutally honest. Coach, A, what's your energy level? B, I don't want you involved in personnel. If I bring you here, I want you to only coach the football team. And C, tell me everything I need to know from the outside, what you think of how we do business here, and don't hold back.
What is your happiest moment as a fan of the Chicago Bears? What memory immediately comes to mind when I say, do you remember this happy moment in your life as a Bears fan?
Wow, that's a really good question. Obviously, 85, my brother and I, probably the night of the game in Minnesota when McMahon came off the bench.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we got beef sandwiches from Johnny's Beef and out in either Melrose Park, River Forest, right
Love
there.
them. Love them. Yes.
Love them. And my brother was a student at Loyola Medical School at the time. And so he lived right on Harlem and North Avenue. So we ran down to Johnny's. We bought like a dozen sandwiches. He had a bunch of his buddies come over. And we're watching the game, and the Bears look lousy. And all of a sudden, there's McMahon telling Dick Cotton go in, and he finally does. And first 2 passes are touchdowns. 3 of his first, 4. Touchdown, Chicago. We're going nuts. Yep. That's probably, other than the obvious, the Super Bowl, is my fondest memory. Winning the NFC title with the snow coming down, super cool as well. And beating San Francisco that season, 26-10, when he put William Perry in for the first time as a running back. Those are all amazing memories. And then the team winning the NFC title at Soldier Field in 2006 to get to the Super Bowl, another super cool memory.
Yeah, great stuff. Speaking of loving Italian beef sandwiches, I got to tell you, my love for Lou Malnati's is because of you. When you did the David Hall and your show on Comcast, I like to have the TV on while I'm working, so I would watch it every morning. And a few times I called in, and one time I won a Lou Malnati's gift certificate. I said to my wife, "We haven't eaten this stuff in years. Let's order it." And it came, and since then, that's all we eat: Lou Malnati's pizza. We are devoted, lifelong fans of Lou Malnati's. Thanks to you.
Oh, you're the man. I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to tell my wife, who's dedicated almost 21 years of her career now, still works for Lou Malnati's, and they're an awesome family to work for, and they do have the best pizza. I grew up on it.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I love you, David Kaplan. Thank you so much for taking 25 minutes to talk with us. What's next for you that we can keep an eye on besides your ESPN 1000 show tomorrow morning? What time do you guys start again? Is it 7?
We're on at 7 every day. So we'll be on tomorrow. Tom Thayer will join us tomorrow. We have Tommy Waddle do football breakdowns on Wednesday. We have Tom Thayer on Thursdays. We'll have a whole lot of fun. Jonathan Hood and I just adore that guy. He's the best. And then right here at the Recap YouTube channel, REKAP, it's a free subscription. We've got almost 211,000 subscribers. We have content, 7 days a week. There's a ton of great stuff I think people would really enjoy.
Take care, David Kaplan. Really appreciate you being here. David Kaplan is the guy. I know a lot of people disagree with his opinion, but that's cool. Don't get angry. Don't dislike the guy for his bad takes. I listen to him a lot, and I would say probably 50, 60% of the time I agree. 30% I disagree. 10% he's a lunatic. What did he drink this morning for breakfast? What's going on? Where are you coming from? But that is what makes a great broadcaster. I wish I had that skill. My problem is that everyone always agrees with my opinion. That's not true, obviously. But I asked the question while the interview was on. And thank you, David Kaplan, ESPN 1000. We'll check you out tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And on YouTube, we will check out the recap show with David Kaplan and also pay attention to his sponsors. Boy, I wish I had those sponsors. Where are you guys? Anyway, I asked at times during the interview, I asked our people in the live YouTube chat what they thought about certain topics. And so I asked for their feelings on Kevin Warren. And Trapakipa says Warren will fix what polls can't. Trapakapa, can you send me another post with more information on that? Because what is it that polls can't? I mean, Warren is not going to open the purse strings. The CBA has determined how much is available, what is the salary cap is done by the NFL. And so he can't provide any more money for players. Are you talking about, polls has nothing to do with the stadium? If that's what you're talking about, then yeah. I think a new stadium would improve the Chicago Bears' performance. That's another topic that perhaps we should talk about at length sometime soon. Would a new stadium improve the Chicago Bears' performance? Because I'll tell you what, from a fan experience, I don't mind it too much on the inside, although I have been in more state-of-the-art stadiums where I say, this fucking kicks ass, beats the shit out of Soldier Field. My biggest problem with Soldier Field is what is outside. It's the campus is cool, but getting out of that stadium is the biggest pain in the ass that I have since I traveled in Cairo and drove around in the city of Cairo some 40 years ago. I was terrified. Anyway, Donald says Kevin Warren has been successful NFL and college football executive for decades. Totally with you, Donald. He has had a lot of success at all of his stops. The major one in terms of football is the Rams. He was there working in an administrative capacity when they had the greatest show on turf and won a Super Bowl. He has a Super Bowl ring, but he had nothing to do with the football operations. And the same thing when he went to Minnesota. He went there primarily to deal with legislators and funders for the stadium, and he was very successful. I have not heard a bad word yet about the work he did to get the Vikings' new stadium up. And I've been dying to get there. It's on my bucket list. I want to get there to check it out and see for myself what, how really good is this? Because that's probably what he'll bring to Chicago if they ever start digging shovels in the ground. And then the college football executive thing, yeah, he had a lot of success primarily at the TV contract. Now, a lot of people are still angry at him because of the COVID thing, and that is a huge blemish. But at the same time, I don't blame him too much. He's being told by government officials and health professionals that was the safest thing to do. He could have, as some people did, not paid attention to that. He probably that would be another star in his resume if he had done that. But yeah, he hurt the Big Ten with that move, and that's something that while I understand his decision, it just wasn't a good decision. Cliff says Warren is a politician and good negotiator. He should stay out of the GM end. I totally agree with you, but I want to provide an exception. Let's say Ryan Poles, and by the way, because I'm kind of doing triple duty here, if you post something live on chat, I probably won't see it right away. I'll take a look at it a little later. But let's say Ryan Poles calls Kevin and says, listen, I'm really close to lining up this free agent. Here's what the dollars are, but I need you to come in for that final pitch so that we can nail this guy and have him and his agent say it's a deal. Things like that, where you could rely on his experience or go to him when you're having issues with certain players and get his advice because he might offer some good advice. Now, at this point right now, my confidence in Kevin Warren is so low that I think that if you ask him for advice about how to deal with a player, he'll turn it into himself. Well, when I don't like leaders like that. Don't talk about yourself. Talk about the problem that I've introduced to you. Talk about the challenge that we have. Talk about the player. Talk about the coach. Talk about anything else but you. I really hated the fact that he started that press conference out with 8 minutes long, but the first minute and a half was basically me. Fuck that. Come on. And Cliff is right when he says he's a politician. Steven Zimmerman, who I know is going to be on this show on an upcoming Wednesday, it says or writes, Warren is perfect for a team president job. He can speak well and play politics and take pressure off both the GM and owner without actually doing anything. I would love to have a job like that. Then I asked the question of, would you trade for a head coach? Because that's a big topic now in Chicago, right? So Chad says Joe Brady or Thomas Brown for me. So obviously you're not going to trade for Joe Brady because he's a coordinator. So all you got to do is offer him a lot of money and he'll leave Buffalo and come to Chicago. And Thomas Brown, of course, Chad is essentially saying he's the guy for me, which that's how I feel. And Brandon sticks to the spirit of the question and says Shanahan or McVay. That's it. So he would trade draft capital, maybe a player, to acquire Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. Listen, especially Sean McVay. I think this guy is the Lombardi of this era. Shanahan, he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, but it's clear that he has a great offensive mind and he's got leadership skills. Although I don't know if it was today or sometime soon, somebody who lives in the San Francisco area said that Shanahan is getting a lot of shit. There's a lot of unhappiness there. So do you want to bring that unhappiness to Chicago and you want to trade draft assets? So I don't know about trading for Shanahan. I don't think that's a good idea. John offers up the thought that Ben Johnson is the next Kevin O'Connell. I agree with you to a degree. I think Kevin O'Connell is doing a hell of a lot more. Yes, more than Ben Johnson is with the talent that he has. I think if Kevin O'Connell was the head coach, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, they would be. It's hard to argue with what Ben Johnson is doing in terms of the metrics, but Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a better offensive mind. Ben Johnson, what worries me about bringing him to Chicago is he won't have that offensive line. If he comes with the offensive line, I'm in. Bring him in, pay him whatever. Cliff says, although I'd much rather find a coach we don't need to give up picks for. I totally agree. I'm with you, Cliff. It's not often a liberal and a conservative agree in this country anymore, but that's where we are, Cliff. I totally agree. And I believe that with good stewardship, and what I mean by that is a general manager that knows how to coach up and manage his head coach, because that's part of this equation. I think Thomas Brown could be it, or a new head coach without much experience. Yeah, I'd like to bring in the big personality guy, the guy who's going to change things. But you know what? Thomas Brown could be that guy. I look at Thomas Brown and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's giving me chills. This guy, I want him to narrate my death video, or at least my birthday video. I'll take either one. I think that, the things that he says and the impression that he's leaving with players, according to them, I think that's super impressive, and you cannot overlook that to bring in a Kyle Shanahan, who right now, at the end, potentially end of his San Francisco 49ers tenure, is dysfunctional, to say the least. The losing record, the fans are in an uproar. A lot of people in San Francisco wouldn't mind seeing him go. So why not delve into a new face, a new voice, and that new face and new voice could be Thomas Brown. Vizzo says, Aldo, I watched Kyle's last two. Oh, it was you, Vizzo. That's what happens when you drink. I'm drinking the Furious IPA. That'll mess you up. It was Vizzo saying, I watched Kyle's last two pressers. Dude seems defeated. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be open to a fresh start. And so the question is, Vizzo, are you open to him coming to Chicago for a fresh start? Aunt Mass is of the opinion, like I am, no trading picks for a coach. No, you don't do that. Donald then says, Ryan Poles fixed the Bears' cap and drafted well, made the greatest trade in the history of the NFL. I'd say that is proven. I agree that Ryan Poles has done a lot of good things. He's done some bad things, though. There's no doubt about it. And after the season, we'll devote that, because he could be in a hot seat. Kevin Warren might not like him. And I doubt that will happen. I think he will continue to be the general manager of the team in 2025. If I had to make this decision, I would definitely keep him around, but I would give him set goals. For instance, you got to win at least 10 games next year. Sorry, bro. You got to do it. Number two, you got to, I don't know. I haven't thoroughly thought out what the conditions were, but I don't want to call them conditions. They're goals. You got to meet these goals in order to continue to be the GM of the team. So I also asked a question to you and the guys in the chat I asked Kaplan first, and he offered up some pretty good names. The question being, who has disappointed you most this year? The one name that he came up with that I wanted to share a thought with was Cole Kmet. I agree with him. I have followed the game for a long time, and one of the things that I've noticed is that when there is great personal change in a player's personal life, sometimes it appears, I can't say for any certainty, but it appears that their performance on the field has suffered. We saw it with the personal problems Tom Brady has. Yeah, he was still able to achieve greatness and be in multiple Super Bowls and so forth. But if you look at Tom Brady's career closely, there are instances where things were happening in his personal life and things didn't work out. I've seen it over and over again. And so I'm wondering right now, with Cole Kmet recently being engaged, with him taking on more responsibilities in terms of doing the podcast with CHGO, being an endorser for certain products, I wonder if he has handled this, because those penalties on Thanksgiving Day, those two rub routes where he committed penalties, and he's done multiple penalties. I should have come armed with statistics, but I think he's had 5 or 6 really costly penalties this year. And so what I want to say to Cole, and I would really want to say to just about every player on this Bears team, is get your fucking head in the game. You have the God-given, and you've worked for a talent to play in the National Football League. All that's required now is for you to pay fucking attention to technique, to the things that you've been coached to do, and not make stupid fucking penalties that are going to hurt us in the one-loss column. And I will say this for Cole. I saw him on CHGO, interviewed by Adam Hogue. I didn't pull a clip. I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't. but he spoke eloquently about his own mistakes, because he took some heat earlier in the season when he went public and said, we're not paying much attention to details. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. He took some heat, but a lot of us fans were grateful that he shared that, because that was another count in the indictment to fire Matt Eberflus, that players were getting away the beans on that. But my point regarding Cole is, I hope that that interview at CHGO, he really did a great job of taking accountability, saying, I'm now focused more on my play and my action than I am in talking to the media about my fellow players and so forth. And so I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that was encouraging. I really like the guy. The guy is going to be a broadcaster. He could be the next Greg Olson. But right now, as he's playing football, he should be catching 75 plus balls, 10 touchdowns, and he should be committing 1 penalty a year, no more. All right, 3 Point is disappointed in Tyreek Stevenson. So is James Hunter. So is PZ. So is Tyreek's mom. She's disappointed too. Slick is disappointed in Jervon Dexter. Trap Pakipa. Sometimes my brain just says, fuck you. You've taken enough drugs. I'm shutting it down. Anyway, Trap says Montez Sweat. Vizzo Joe, hands down, Montez Sweat. And a couple of others, Montez Sweats. And then there is Chad, who says Tevin Jenkins, he's hurt too much. And I agree. That's a big problem, man. I would love to consider signing him for 2025 and beyond. I doubt he'll accept a 1-year contract, but I can't give him. If you told me he will sign for $8 million a year, but only 20% of the contract is guaranteed, then I'll say, okay, I can't revamp the entire offensive line, but I got to at least get 2 very high quality starters, one at the other guard position and one at the left tackle position. And I can live with Coleman Shelton for 1 more year, and I can live at left guard 1 more year. That's the way that I would approach this. Right now, though, I just think that, it would be better to not offer him a contract, see what the market tells him, and try to acquire somebody else. You're going to need to bring in at least 2 new starter quality offensive linemen in 2025. And when I say quality, I'm talking about high draft pick first, or the Carolina pick in the 2nd round. And I'm talking about a maybe $15 to $20 million offensive lineman, or whatever position. You just need the quality, and you need it for Caleb's sake. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Let me take a look at what is going on live, which I haven't had a chance to talk about. As I scroll here, Trappa Keepa says Komet is underperforming. There's no doubt, and I think a lot of that is on him. Hair Bear says, why give Poles conditions for his job if you aren't going to let him fully hire a coach? That's BS. Totally agree. And according to Greg Gabriel, he says for general managers, their standard contract says you are responsible for hiring and firing of the head coach and assistant coaches. So if that's the case, right, and you go back and you listen to Ryan Poles talking about, the final decision on the coach, then you know this fucking guy, Kevin Warren, is fucking around. He didn't at first say Ryan makes that final decision. It had to come out, 30 seconds later. You're asked about that, who has the final decision. He should have immediately says it's Ryan's responsibility. I wonder if Kevin Warren isn't trying to manipulate for more power at Alice Hall, and maybe the next general manager is in contract negotiations is to say it's standard policy for me to make those decisions on the head coach, and he might say, not here in Chicago. not here in Chicago. I watched Hard Knocks last night. It was fucking fantastic. It's Hard Knocks, the AFC North, and they went from team to team to team, Bengals, Steelers, etc., and it was fucking fantastic. And in the first 30 seconds, I heard the word "fuck," and I said, "This is Hard Knocks, not that fucking vanilla, watered down bullshit the Bears offered. Can't show us swearing. Can't show us swearing." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the brand. The Hard Knocks brand is they're giving it to you raw. They've got a clean version for kids, but the prime time version was raw. And to strip that away from the Chicago Bears, again, gives me another bad message about this organization and their puritanical 1950s approach to running an organization. Right now, my mood with this team is really at an all-time low, and it has to do with an accumulation of the mistakes by the McCaskey family and the continuous losing. We haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since 2005 and 2006. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? And a guy like fucking Don Burr comes in here and starts talking shit, and you got to take it. You got to fucking take it because we don't have facts to tell him otherwise. So that's part of my mission on this show, and really whatever show I'm involved in, is to kind of expose what's going on at Hallis Hall by sharing my opinion. Now, I'm not there. I don't have all the facts. Shit could be going on that I haven't accounted for. I don't know. But based on what they've shared with us, based on what I've seen, based upon what the media and players and insiders tell me, this organization is fucked up. All right, let's get back to some of the press conferences today. Caleb Williams also met with a press conference. And one of the things about that Thanksgiving Day game, he missed fucking DJ Moore, who would have either been tackled inside the 10 or very possibly could have taken it into the end zone because of his prolific running style. He missed him on a slant pattern, and he was asked by that. And I also attached a little bit more from the press conference at the tail end here.
Yeah, frustrated about that one, but short arm that one. I ended up feeling I think it was, I don't remember the number, but when I was starting to throw, I ended up feeling the D tackle looping back in that little gap that I stepped up into, and that just it ended up just affecting the throw in the end of it,
Caleb, you keep talking about rolling with the punches. Is that easier said than done? Because obviously you come in, you learn from Shane, abruptly gets switched to Thomas Brown. You're working with him closely for a couple of weeks. Now he's promoted to head coach. And I know he's still going to be calling plays, but you have another different offensive coordinator. Are you worried at all about all this maybe affecting your development? And how do you kind of power through?
No, it is the hardest thing to do is keep going and keep going as being consistent. As a human nature, we're not necessarily meant to be consistent for 365 days. So that is the battle to fight for myself, for my teammates and coaches and everybody. So I will say that it's not easy to keep going and roll with the punches and keep fighting and things like that. But you have to do it. It's part of it, and I wouldn't say that it would affect my development. I think this is a stepping stone of development. To be able to have all of this in my first year, I wouldn't say that I'm happy for it, but having these moments is definitely something that will help me in the future. Having these situational moments that you can't. It's hard to rep in practice. Having some of these moments, having your coach fired or coaches fired, and people being promoted, and things like that, all happening within a couple weeks of each other. I think it would have helped me in the long run, being able to handle all of this, handle this first year, and being able to grow from it. I think it is a stepping stone, actually with my development, because I think down the line I'll have different OCs or different head coaches, whatever the case may be, and so being able to handle it my first year, handle new playbook, handle all these different changes, handle, all of this. I think it definitely will help the development instead of, hurting it or anything like that. So.
First of all, it's weird when he makes a mistake. It's almost like he's blushing, right? But that missed pass to DJ Moore, I was so fucking pissed off. I was like, "What is going on?" And then I'm so critical of Tony Romo. It's his job to be an analyst. There were times during that game where he seemed lost, and he doesn't see shit on video. It's like, give him a fucking bigger monitor. Have somebody, a producer there, pointing to certain things. Like, that guy fumbled. Why can't you just fucking see it? And in that instance, he failed to detect what Caleb talked about there, is that interior defensive lineman looped around, and at least Romo could have said it may have affected the throw. I said it at home. Caleb says it after the game. Why can't Tony Romo, who's making $5 million a year, say it? That's what he's here for, to help us better understand the game. Fuck you, Tony Romo. I think I'm going to do a segment called Fuck You, and then the name of the person that I'm saying fuck you. I had an idea years ago of doing a picture book with kids giving the middle finger, to certain people, like, pick your, like, do a one for against the Democrats. Here's for you, Nancy Pelosi, a kid. Or do one for the Republicans. Here's to you, name your Republican. Anyway, bad idea. Nobody's really going to buy that, so let's move on. I got to present to you a guy who has been now my friend for maybe 6-7 years. I'm really happy that he is continuing his role here on Bear Their Soulz. He's like a safety blanket for me, and he's earned that safety blanket because of his quality work. I read the comments when he does those Bear Their Soulz. I mean, the comments are outstanding. He talks about the Bears in an unfiltered, wise way, and he gets the proper response, in my opinion, from fans. I've never heard an ill word said about Tooch's Bears state of the affairs, and here he is now. Johnny Santucci, how are you, my friend?
Thanks, Aldo. Yeah, I'm sad I missed Cap. I never met him before. I would have liked to have said some stuff, but
I'll ask him next time. Because typically when I do these interviews with people who are, have a lot of responsibilities, I say, hey, you name a time, and then I'll record it and drop it into one of our shows. And so 4 p.m. was when he's available. But hopefully one day, either Cap or somebody like Adam Rank or somebody would join us at night, and you could take over the interview.
It's been 7.5 years, Aldo.
Wow.
Almost 8 years. Yeah, March would be 8 years. Barroom Network.
We were going to bare our souls here. So Tooch and I think maybe
it's been a slow news week, Aldo.
Yeah, right. Tooch
There's
and
not much going on.
I think it was the first time we met. I picked you up so that we could go see the Bears. They were at Bourbonnais then? Yeah, they were at Bourbonnais.
I got you lost.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, you're my co-pilot. Give me directions.
I'm navigating. I got lost, of course.
So Tooch is like sharing everything about his life. If you want me to tell you what school he went to, what hospital he went to get vaccinated, I know it all. Because he shared that on the ride to Bourbonnais. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, where the fuck are we? And he's like, oh, shit, I think we passed it.
I was thinking about going up to Ames for the Marquette-Iowa State game, but I'm here with you, Aldo, instead.
Oh, you're a sweetheart, man. You're a sweetheart.
I got lots of hope, though, where the Wicked Witch is dead.
Yes, well, I can't wait to hear your Bears state of affairs. So why don't we go there now? And then afterwards, we'll talk about your thoughts from Bears state of affairs. And there's a couple of movies I want to talk about. One of them is one that you recommended I didn't particularly like so much. No? So I want you to explain yourself, as Ricky Ricardo would say. All right, where's my little open for Bear State Affairs? And here it is.
Everyone on this show is a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best, except for me. Except for me.
Yeah, all right. Bears state of affairs. Not much going on. Woo! NFL Week 14. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their 12th game of the season. A 20-23 loss on Thanksgiving Day in Detroit. Their 6th loss in a row. Well, for the Lions, it was their 10th win in a row as they look poised to make a Super Bowl run and then collapse in typical Lions fashion in the playoffs. Like they almost did against the Bears.
Yep.
Yep, but on Thanksgiving, unbelievably, Bears fans were fed another almost victory. Another game where Caleb Williams, the Bears' sterling rookie, rallied the team in the second half, only to be let down by the Bears coaching staff and their hapless head coach, Matt Eberflus.
Oh my God.
No way, yeah. Well, it was all Lions in the first half. The halftime score of 16-0. Detroit opened the game with 4 straight scoring drives, going ahead 16-0. A Jared Goff's 3-yard touchdown pass to Sam Laporta in the second quarter, and 3 Jake Bates field goals. During the drives, former Bears David Montgomery punished his former team with some bruising runs and finishing with 88 yards. Yeah, the Bears, on the other hand, failed to pick up a first down on their first 4 drives and gained a total of 32 yards on those possessions. Yeah, and to show the Bears they didn't really take the Bears seriously, they ran an end around to tackle Penei Sewell. I hate the Lions. Not more than Don Burr, though. All right, but in the second half, the Lions seemed to take their foot off the gas, and the Bears were able to rally from behind, outscoring the Lions 13-0 in the fourth quarter, and cutting the Lions' lead down to 3 points with 5.5 minutes remaining on a beautiful 31-yard touchdown pass from Williams and DJ Moore. The Bears would get the ball back with 3.5 minutes remaining and drive down to the Lions' 35-yard line behind the arm and legs of Caleb Williams. But he was sacked with 36 seconds left when Larry Borum forgot to block Zadarius Smith. I don't know how. I don't know.
Nope.
No. Yeah. Then, with time still left to run another play and get close enough to attempt a game-tying field goal, no one called a timeout, Aldo.
He's a fucking idiot.
He really is, man. Not Matt Eberflus and not Caleb Williams, and both seem to think the other would call a timeout. It's so Bears. Yeah. As a result of this indecision, the Bears did not get a final playoff until there were only 6 seconds remaining, and the game unfortunately ended on an incomplete pass from Williams to Roma Dunze as time expired. After the game in front of the media, Matt Eberflus again took zero responsibility. What a surprise.
What?
Yeah. He said he was satisfied with the decisions at the end of the game and basically threw Caleb under the bus for not snapping the ball sooner on the last play. Yeah, I'm glad he's gone.
Okay.
Woo! Yeah, after the game, the players felt differently, though, Aldo. Whoa, did they feel differently? Yeah, some were subtle, said Keelan Allen. I feel like we did enough as players to win the game. Yeah, other players were not so subtle. Yeah. Jaquan Brisker after Eberflus is fired. Yeah. Yeah, former Bears players also chimed in after the game. Yeah, Kyle Long, man. Woo, fire.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Yeah, even former NFL players got in on the after-game comments. J.J. Watts. Man, I feel for you Bears fans. That was just brutal. Literal coaching malpractice. Well, you're about 13 games too late, JJ. It's been 13 games of malpractice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And Caleb Williams, he said he was changing the final play as the clock was ticking down, but he wasn't comfortable calling that final timeout because he's a rookie.
I love it.
Yeah, instead leaving that authority to the coaches. He said, quote, "I'm trying to make a play for the Chicago Bears." Yeah. We've made lots of plays, boy, I tell you. Really love what I've seen from the rookies so far this season. But the next day on Black Friday, fans and media were expecting Matt Eberflus to be fired, But remarkably, Eberflus gave a short press conference and later appeared on his weekly radio hit with ESPN 1000 before being informed by team president Kevin Warren that the team was firing him. In fact, Eberflus told the media that he was confident he would be coaching the Bears on Sunday versus the 49ers. I'm waiting for the nope drop.
Sorry.
The media, as well as many Bears fans, wondered why the Bears let Eberflus do his Bears conference if they were firing him. Yeah, many felt the Bears could have handled that better. But longtime Bears fans used to the team's dysfunctional management were hardly surprised. Yeah, I was thinking the Bears just needed some time to deactivate Eberflus's badge, and IT needed some time to delete Matt Eberflus from the team's network.
Sorry for being.
Sources close to the team said that when Eberflus was fired, he still had several timeouts in his pocket, Aldo. Yeah, at least the team broke with their tradition of not firing a coach during the season, so Christmas came early for Bears fans. Woo! Yeah, and all Matt Eberflus finishes his tenure as Bears head coach with a record of 14-32, 5-19 in close games, and a propensity for collapsing in the fourth quarter of games, which he'll be remembered for.
I don't think.
In the end, I think Eberflus just couldn't handle calling the defense and managing a game at the same time. In the days following Eberflus's dismissal, all hell broke loose as players and media broke stories of a head coach who had long ago lost the trust of his team. Yeah, according to Bears beat reporter Courtney Cronin, as Bears players filed into the locker room after the Lions game, Eberflus began delivering a message that fell on deaf ears. And the message spoke to how players had battled but came up short. As Eberflus spoke, an exasperated Jalen Johnson interrupted him and began shouting obscenities out of frustration from the same results playing out over and over. I don't blame him. Yeah, Eberflus cut his message short and walked out of the locker room. Reportedly, Kevin Warren was also in the Bears locker room during the team's revolt, but afterwards still hadn't made a decision about Eberflus's future. Only the Bears. On Friday, when Eberflus was fired 2.5 hours after doing his press conference, Kevin Warren said, "I can tell you this, when Coach Eberflus had his press conference, we had not made our final decision. In retrospect, could we have done it better? Absolutely. But during this press conference and a couple hours later, we had not reached our decision." I smell a George McCaskey in the room there. Yeah, and if that isn't even the tip of the iceberg of Bears dysfunction, this week news surfaced that Ryan Poles wanted to fire Eberflus after the Patriots game, but was blocked by George McCaskey. That report evolved during the week, though, when it was reported that Ryan Poles actually wanted to fire Eberflus after last season. What? Whew, for an owner that doesn't get involved in football decisions, Aldo, it sounds like he's fucking involved. Woo. Yeah, nothing has changed. Nothing's changed. Kevin Warren is just a rebranded Ted Phillips. Ryan Poles is a glorified scout with no real power. Nothing will change unless ownership does. The problem is still the incompetent silver spoon clowns at the top like George McCaskey. Yeah, and if that wasn't enough, after the firing of Matt Eberflus, it got even worse when Bears management held a conference about the future of the team. Kevin Warren said that GM Ryan Poles is staying and will run the search for a new head coach along with Warren. Warren went on to say, "This will be the most coveted job in National Football League this year." Asked who will have a final say on a new head coach, Warren said Poles will, but added that they'll do what's in the best interest of the Bears and work out any decisions together. It sounds like they have all their ducks in a row, Aldo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warren on that Bears' next head coach said, "We need an individual who has extremely high standards, who's tough, who is demanding, who's bright, who has attention to detail, who seeks and will win championships." No shit. That's the same thing you look for every time.
Exactly. Nothing new here.
Man.
Move on.
Ooh, that Bears presser was awkward, though, although Ryan Poles looked like he was afraid to say the wrong thing. Kevin Warren looked like he was the main guy, but kept telling us he wasn't. Warren, right?
Perfect.
Warren was in a suit, Poles was in sweatpants, and looked like he didn't know there was a press conference.
We got fucking fire, man!
Poles looked like a kid who got yelled at right before he took holiday family photos. Shit. I don't think I've ever seen a stranger press conference from a sports team.
I hear you.
Yeah. So where are we, Bears fans? Well, offensive coordinator Thomas Brown was named interim head coach, and Ryan Poles will get a second chance at finding the Bears head coach of the future. But do we trust either of these guys? And Thomas Brown, who's had the fastest, most meteoric rise to head coach we've ever seen, was just promoted to offensive coordinator a few games ago. And Poles, under his watch, the Bears have fired 3 coordinators, numerous assistants, and now a head coach. But do we trust Bears ownership and upper management to find the next Bears head coach? These are the same guys who need to hire a search firm to find a head coach. Shit, the most Bears thing ever right now would be letting Bill Polian and Ernie Accorsi pick the next Bears head coach again. Well, I like what David Kaplan had to say last time the Bears looked for a head coach, man. Yeah, when the Bears interviewed Dan Quinn in 2022, they flew him to Chicago and coach. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, Aldo, but as a current
did. I'm crying.
I know, right? As a current NFL executive said to me today, 31 other teams either bring you in on the owner's jet or they charter a plane. Chicago wouldn't even pay for a first-class ticket.
Nope.
You expect them to spend at the top of the market for the best available coach? Oh, man. Yeah, one thing we can be sure of, the Bears will likely mess up the hiring of the next head coach, Aldo. Yeah, in fact, they should probably go with the coach they like the least. Pick the guy they would never pick, and they might have a chance to get it right. Remember, this is the same team that instead of hiring a quality NFL coach, they hired the coach of the Montreal Alouettes, and that's Bears State of Affairs.
We're finished talking.
Great job, Tooch. Great job.
Do the Alouettes, do they still have a team?
They do. I think they were in the Grey Cup. I don't know if they won or not.
Oh,
but,
shit, man.
Yeah.
The Bears will be sniffing around there.
I'm sure. I wouldn't be if Kevin Warren is a part of the search. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Bears head coach also had a CPA, or was a paralegal at some point. Oh my gosh! But I got to ask you about Thomas Brown. I've been saying now for a while, I'm really impressed by the guy. Yeah, he's got to prove it on the field. There's no doubt about it. But when the guy speaks, I think that is a big part of helping the players play better football. Is to have that aura, as Caleb described it, is to speak intelligently and effectively and have the right motivation. Thomas Brown says, that his job is to make the players better. His job is to design plays that are unsackable. If he is successful at it, he's already successful at communicating that. If he is successful at those things, don't you think he deserves to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears?
Man, I want to say yes, because I like what I've heard so far. It's just that I don't have enough data.
Sure.
We're getting a 5-game tryout, though, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
I mean, that's big because you're going to have the data of the win-loss record, of improvement of yards of offense, allowing Eric Washington to giving him full autonomy to run the defense if there's improvement in the defense. I mean, there are going to be measurable metrics at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So this all of this speculation about the head coach, 90% of it is bullshit. Yeah, we could talk about topics like, in which I'd love to get your take on, about
Sure.
starting to call some of these NFL owners and saying, "Hey, is Kyle Shanahan, might he be available via trade?" What are your thoughts on trading for a head coach?
I mean, Kyle Shanahan seems a little burnt out. The 49ers have kind of collapsed here at the end. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, really, to be honest. I don't think they'll win that division. The other teams that are in that division are on the rise. And they do have a tough schedule remaining, a lot like the Bears do. I think the Bears have a chance to win this game on Sunday, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like what I've seen from Thomas Brown as an offensive coordinator. I have no idea what he's like as a head coach. I mean, I'm afraid the offense will suffer, but that's just natural. I do know that, his first 9 – I mean, Caleb Williams has really blossomed. His first 9 games with Shane Waldron, 198.3 pass yards per game, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 81 passer rating. But Caleb Williams' last 3 games with Thomas Brown, 275 passing yards per game, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. In fact, I think he's gone 230 attempts or 230 plays without a turnover, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah. And here's Caleb versus the NFC North.
Oh, nice.
So then this coincides with Thomas Brown too.
Great stats. Wonderful stuff. I'm sorry, was I muted? Okay. Wonderful stats there. And I think a lot of those NFC North stats for Caleb are aided by Keenan Allen. I did a video at the start of the season when we acquired him. Keenan Allen is an NFC North killer. He has some of his best games of his entire career going up against that. So I'm happy that he's helping Caleb get off to a good start, at least statistically, against those teams.
I got another one for you, too.
Great.
It's like quarterbacks with multiple touchdowns passes against the Lions this year. Caleb Williams, that's it. That's the list.
Wow.
The only quarterback this season with more than 1 touchdown versus the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Take that, Don Burr.
Don has not made an appearance tonight, and I'm so fucking happy. So happy. Give it a break, bro. Don't you have friends? Don't you have a family? Do you think, as Jeff Adams states here, that Keenan should be extended?
It's a tough question. I mean, we spent a 4th-round pick on it, so, I mean, it makes sense that they would extend him. I mean, to me, he's gotten the job done in spite of looking slow as molasses out there at times. With no separation, no deep threat. I don't know.
And what?
A 50-50 chance for me.
His forte is being that big down wide receiver who can get open short. He's just at getting first downs, especially on 3rd down. And but the question is, he is getting up there in years. The last 2-3 seasons, he's missed multiple games because of injury. He's missed, I think, 2 this year. So if he would accept, I doubt he'd accept a 1-year contract, but if he would accept a 2-year contract, I would seriously consider bringing him in. But the other thing is, would bringing him back harm Roma Dunze's development?
Yeah, it's one caveat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I mean, you probably won't miss too much if Keenan's gone and Roman's inserted in his place. However, I mean, if they do make another signing in free agency, which they probably should at the wide receiver position, and maybe draft one in the draft, but as usual, Aldo, every off-season Bears draft, there's more holes to fill than draft picks we have.
Yep, that's for sure.
It's always like that. And the offensive line needs a ton of attention right now.
Yep. Another thing, did you get a chance to see Hard Knocks last night?
No, it was what is it like?
It's the in-season AFC North. They're covering all 4 AFC North teams: the Browns, the Ravens, the Steelers, and who's the fourth? the Bengals. Thank you. And it's really fast paced, and it is. And they've brought the F word back. Thank you. I don't know. I love to hear the F word when football players, when alpha males are talking, as opposed to having it censored out. That's bullshit. But it was just brilliantly done. And I forgot why I brought it up, but I will say this. There was an assistant offensive line coach who gave a speech to the offense, the quarterback, running backs, offensive line. So, wide receivers. I think it was everyone in the offense was there. And he was talking about, he was talking in very vulgar but effective ways about
which team?
He was the assistant offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
And he was telling them, John, this is so awesome. He was telling them, we're not, where were they playing? We're not going over there to go, Denver. We're not going over there to go skiing. We're going over there to kick ass. And if you see a lineman lined up on that A guy, you kill him. I mean, he was like, holy shit, this is awesome. This, for me, is football. I mean, because that's the game. It's violent. It's vulgar. It's also operatic with Lynn Swan going up and catching those passes. It's got that jambalaya of all the cool and bad things in the world.
With Matt Eberflus was like that.
Yeah, absolutely
with
not.
The Bears ownership, I don't think they're like that either. What we can hope for, as long as I've known you for 7 or 8 years, I've never been one who thought, ownership, they stay out of things and they're not to blame. They're just it doesn't look like that anymore, man. I think the rumors about, meddling ownership are still there. George didn't want to let Poles fire his coach, and that to me is just unacceptable. Are you gonna let people run the football team that admittedly say that you have no knowledge of how football? You're not a football person. You don't have the knowledge that these guys have. Or are you going to meddle? And meddling has cost us, years. Like I know Mike North said he plans on staying alive until he's 100 to see another Bears championship.
Right.
I don't think that's enough time, though. Although
I agree.
I
agree.
What we can hope for, though, is a stadium deal gets done. Bears build another stadium. Virginia McCaskey is put to rest. God bless her. And the Bears are able to sell the team at a profit. The owners, McCaskies are able to sell the team at a profit. An owner comes in here that is serious about winning, because a serious franchise, like I said in last week's Bears State of Affairs, Eberflus would have been gone before last season. I didn't think it was a good hire when he was hired.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, we saw a picture of George's two brothers who are members of the board of directors. It's the first time I ever laid eyes on them. One looked kind of dorky, and the other guy, it looked like he had just gotten off the golf course and put on a shirt and pants and attended the press conference.
George was in a suit, heavy shoes.
Yes. So would you be open to accepting the fact, as a fan, that George is turning over the chairmanship to one of his two brothers?
Yeah, I think it's
anything
long overdue. Long overdue.
Yeah, anything, please. Turn it over to one of the girls.
I'd take Virginia at this point. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think Chad's right. I think once Virginia passes away, they probably want to sell now.
Yeah.
The smart thing to do would be get that stadium complex built. If it's in Arlington Heights, and then sell like the football team, but keep some of the entertainment complex, maybe keep the casino.
Mm-hmm.
If they build a casino, keep maybe the museum, or something they can use for tax deduction purposes.
Right.
And then turn over the rest of football operations to an owner who's serious about winning.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. They're not going to sell the team until it is most advantageous from a tax purpose, right? And I think, I am not absolutely sure, but I think that the Trump administration is going to make it much more kinder to billionaires when they either sell off assets or leave them as inheritance, because that inheritance tax, I don't think it's been changed yet, but it's pretty hefty. So, all of the McCaskies who who stand to gain millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from the sale of the team. They don't want it to happen until it's tax advantage. And I don't know a lot
What would you say
about
the franchise is worth now? $5 billion.
I think Forbes last listed it at 5.3 billion. It ain't too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, selling it after a new stadium and entertainment complex is built in Arlington Heights, and along with all that, it might be double that.
Do you like the name of Mark Cuban? He is selling off the Dallas Mavericks. Maybe he's looking at an NFL franchise. What do you think about Mark Cuban?
Worth a shot.
Again, anybody. Vladimir Putin, come on down. Wouldn't that be wild if the Russian president?
I want to say like someone like Michael Jordan, who's got some money and is serious about winning. I don't think I've ever met a guy more serious or ever seen a guy more serious that has to win, somebody like that coming in and with a championship spirit invoked, and runs the team seriously, all about winning a championship.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about being an owner in the NFL is that most of your costs are kind of already, what they're going to be. Labor costs for business owners, NFL franchise owners, sports team owners, the biggest thing is looking at your labor costs, because that's always, just about any business, that's your biggest thing. Because of the CBA, they know what that's going to be within a few $1 million.
Yep.
And so the rest of the money that the multi-billionaire owner can bring in is for upgrading facilities, is for treating players better with the facilities that they have, marketing, the in-stadium experience, perhaps. I don't know how much more a new owner could provide from a financial standpoint than the McCaskies have, because they've done everything that they're obligated to do and a little more, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the football experience that they're lacking, sort of the
good point.
And then the meddling, we can do without as well, because as you've seen, the meddling has backfired for the past 3 coaching hires.
And Tooch, you've worked in the media world for years. Don't you think that the best thing George McCaskey and the McCaskey family could do is hire a PR firm to help them rebrand themselves?
Yeah.
Because right now the McCaskies are, as Mr. Shorty would do on his show whenever he heard a word or a name that he disliked. The McCaskey brand is not very popular. And so perhaps it might help them if they brought in one of those PR marvels, would get them interviews with.
Yeah, they used to have a PR guy, Brian something, I can't remember.
Yes.
Back in the day, he used to handle all of this stuff and, prep the players, what to say, what not to say, handle press releases. He was really good. I just can't remember his name. Brian something.
Brian Harlan.
Brian Harlan. Yep.
Yes.
Brian Harlan. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a guy like that.
I think they do, but I don't think
not as good.
Yeah, exactly. They the whole team, from that part. I think the social media team is doing a great job with the videos they produce. They're really outstanding, and I know they've gotten some help from NFL Films and with some of the stuff that they've shot that they've used. But be that as it may, what I'm trying to say,
understandable that if you and I were the owner of the team, we'd probably battle a little bit, though.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I like to think I know a little bit more than these clowns, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know who to hire.
Those type constructive arguments are a good thing for any organization. You can't make decisions if you're surrounded by yes men. That's not a good approach. He said that, so I'm going to agree with you. No, look for something to disagree with and present it if you're really confident in that argument, because that's fodder for thought and fodder for decision making. Right now, it looks like just the Bears. Did you see a portion of the press conference Monday?
Yeah, I saw a portion of most of the stuff, but I mean, to me, there had to have been a certain degree, I'm positive there was a certain degree of national embarrassment for the Bears franchise after this
Oh
week.
my God,
You know?
yes. I mean, aren't you tired of turning on CBS Sports, ESPN, and they're just making fun of us? I'm
Yep.
tired of it. I'm tired of Don Burr and Chim and all these other Lions fans that infiltrate our chat room.
I heard
And
someone say that Bears are the worst run franchise, except for the Jets.
yes, Ambassador Woody Johnson
Yeah.
is leaving the country. He says he's going to be an ambassador again and stay away from the New York media. But my last thought on this, and God damn it, I lost it, and I wanted to ask you. No. Hey, man, it happens. TIA and age and drugs. But what the one thing that I would really hope is that the Bears could change their image, because it is embarrassing to be a fan of this organization and having to endure all of the bullshit. What management and the owners and a lot of players too, I don't think that they understand is that we're putting our word on the line. And so when you let the team down, you're also letting down Johnny Santucci. You put a $20 bet on you. You're letting down Aldo Gandia, who's been telling Packer fans they suck. Their time is up. And you guys aren't helping us. And I know that may not mean a lot to you, but it means a lot to us. And if you have a little bit of empathy, you'll play maybe a little harder, a little smarter to avoid letting us down. We're the guys that, with our $5 purchase here, $50 purchase here, and $100 purchase here, help pay your salaries. They should appreciate that. I wish some player would say that.
I can't agree more. And as far as like the net, I mean, you see a lot of coach names bandied about right now. And someone was really hyping Bill Belichick, and I'm like, well, that would be good for like maybe 2 years until he gets tired of all the bullshit around the Bears, or just gets tired of coaching because he's almost 80 years old. But for the first couple of years, it might be pretty exciting. I don't know. Then you talk about Kyle Shanahan, who's a really good coach, but maybe it looks like he's burnt out, might need a year off, And then you got Cliff Kingsbury, who coached Caleb Williams before, and not sure if he's going to be a successful head coach ever in the NFL.
Wasn't it you that presented some stats about his second half of seasons that he's got losing records because the defenses start to figure him out?
I think it was Danny.
Okay.
I think it was Danny.
Either way,
Danny or John Buffone.
The facts of the matter are that Kingsbury, while he is an innovative offensive coach, every season he's got in the second half of the season either a 500, or a less than 500 record, and the offenses fail. Now, Washington did surprise me with how many points they scored this past week. But let's keep an eye on them, because prior to this week,
we had their coach in the building. We flew him on coach, but we had him in the building.
I don't believe that. I don't know.
How embarrassed! I would be embarrassed to say, "Here's your ticket. It's coach."
If that is true, it's just
you're in economy, not even premium economy. Fuck! I'd be like, "Fuck you,"
Mr. Quinn, do you mind driving here for the interview from
Atlanta? Yeah, exactly.
Where the fuck you are?
It would be like, I don't even know if I'd want to interview because that's like what the future is like.
Yeah, exactly.
The treatment you're going to get from the ownership. What team doesn't roll out the red carpet for coaches that they want to hire?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Dan Quinn, I would be, I don't really care if I'm coming here, do they?
How
clueless can you be?
And this gets back to the PR department, right? Because if that's not true, you got to try to correct that somehow. If it's misinformation, you got to figure out a way, do an interview with somebody, let's leak it out that that's bullshit news. But it's out there now, and people believe it. And it might be true. We have every reason in the world to fucking believe that it's true. It's because it's such a poorly run organization. Tooch, there's I want to end the show in about 30 minutes. I'd love to have this new iteration.
Pulled back this week, Aldo.
Oh my gosh. So I wanted to ask you, is there anything else?
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah. Is there anything else about this week that you want to talk about before we talk about movies? Because I want to get to that movie talk about these two movies that I saw. One of them you recommended, and I was a little disappointed.
Do some.
You want to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me play the trailer for the movie that you recommend, that you and Dan said we
Is
both.
it The Substance?
Yes. Here's the trailer so that people can get an idea.
I knew you'd probably, you're either going to love it or hate it.
Yes.
Because,
exactly.
I mean, it's disgusting.
It really is.
Yeah. It is.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
Pretty girls should always smile.
Okay, so the premise is pretty clear there, right? It's an aging Hollywood starlet gets the an opportunity.
Yeah, she's getting laid off of her job.
Yes, and so she's got an opportunity there to transform herself into a younger version of herself, and things go wrong. Why did you like this movie?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a Cronenberg-esque, like
Very true.
Body horror. I liked it for its social commentary on whether it's the entertainment industry, beauty, aging, a lot of things like that. Would I ever watch this film again? No, probably not. I thought Demi Moore did a fantastic job of acting.
She did.
The other girl's pretty good too. Dennis Quaid was also pretty gross and good. I mean, it was very stylish, very well directed. And it was weird. It was like a nightmare. Like you're inside of a nightmare. But other than that, I mean, I can't say I really liked it. I don't think I'd watch it again. And I apologize for recommending it.
No, please don't. Yeah. Because I am a film lover. Even movies that I don't like, I like to watch. And then I'll ask myself, what would I have done to improve it and so forth? And what I would have done,
I wouldn't have made the film.
No, because everything that you said about
my wife hated it too.
Really? Okay. Everything that you said about why you liked it, the theme, the message, the way it's shot, the music, all that stuff is
It went on too long though.
Exactly. That's why I got the scissors. Yeah. I'm cutting 20 minutes out of this fucking movie.
Yep.
That last
the ending,
scene,
the second ending, totally unnecessary.
Yes. It's like, what the fuck, man? How much more of this shit do I gotta watch?
My wife went to bed. I'm like, should I watch this? I don't think I need to. I'll watch it.
Well, I am glad that you recommended. I really, really am. I got a lot out of it, but at the same time, there were moments where I was watching the film, and then you heralded Dennis Quaid's performance. I thought it was way too over the top.
Yeah.
And it didn't match the performances of the others. And so it felt a little weird to me. That whole aspect of the script, here's the board, and they're all, that just didn't work for me. But it was a great concept, great idea. I'd love to see another filmmaker take a shot at basically that script. That would be an interesting exercise.
I'll be interested to see what Caroline Forget does in the future, though.
Yes. Well, I put in my queue, what is it, St. Maud?
She's got another one, huh?
St. Maud. That's her first film. So I'm going to watch that this week. Maybe we could talk about it next week.
I was hoping you would watch like Brawl in Cell Block 99 or Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, gosh. You know what? The paper that I wrote that.
S. Craig Zoller films, that I think, if you like Tarantino or True Romance and stuff like that, you'll love these ones, even though they're like kind of, just for the dialogue. Because, he really relishes the dialogue like Tarantino does.
Love that. I can't wait to watch that one. I'll watch that in the next day or two.
Yeah, those are two good ones.
The one that I saw that I really love, and I don't remember us talking about it here on the show, is this movie.
The excitement in the air is palpable. The atmosphere is electric. A celebration of history in the making.
What is this place? You're looking pretty good in there. There's some pretty serious lines going. Yeah? Why don't you want me working for your dad? Well, he's a psycho. It's not that big girl. That you two are maybe together.
Do you like guns?
I prefer to know my own strength.
That's not what I'm paying you for.
If you touch her, I'm gonna tell them everything you ever did.
Are you threatening me?
We gotta get out of here. Let's just keep driving. I fucking love you, you idiot. I love you too.
You'll regret this.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, fuck.
Tooch.
I've heard about this one, but
Okay.
I didn't know what it was about, to be honest. I thought it was like a women's wrestling movie.
Yeah, you would
I
get
don't know if
that
I'm
impression,
interested.
yeah.
But it looks more like a
neo
crime movie.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. It's a neo
My
noir
wife
movie.
and I would probably like this one.
Yeah, and people know I love film noir, and
Oh, yeah,
neo
me
noir
too.
movies are just as good. It's very dark, very seedy. This is about a woman who comes into town. She's a weightlifter, training to go to a weightlifting contest. You saw that shot early in the movie. Kristen Stewart plays a lesbian who manages a gym, and so they fall in love. But what happens is
It's Ed Harris.
a lot of
chewing
crime.
scenery.
Exactly. What happens is Ed Harris. Exactly.
Looks great.
Good stuff.
I love Ed Harris.
I love that movie. I
Yeah.
love it. Love it.
That
love
one
it.
I gotta see.
It's called Love,
Love
Lies,
Lies
Bleeding. Yes.
Okay.
Please watch that. Have you seen
Excellent.
anything that you like, sir?
I don't think so. Not really. I mean, yes, I did see one thing that I liked. It's called Skeleton Crew. It's on Disney. It's the new like serialized short series in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the Goonies in outer space.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it with my girls, and I love it because I don't know if you watched. Did you watch The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal?
No, I have not. I hear it's
Which
really
was
good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Just great. There's a lot of great cameos in it of actors from late Carl Weathers. There's a bunch of other. I forget who else is in it. What is it? Timothy Oliphant, Gina Gershon.
Quick question for you, because I really want to watch some of these Star Wars spinoffs.
Yeah.
I just have always been afraid that I'm not going to get certain things because I've not watched the entire mythology, the entire series of Star Wars. So if I start,
you don't have to. They're like standalone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to see some of the Star Wars universe standalone stuff, I would start with like Rogue One, the movie. It's like a standalone movie. It takes place right before Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, which was the 1977 George Lucas film. Rogue One's really excellent. It has a great cast, including like Ben Mendelsohn, Mads Mikkelsen. What's the name of what is that girl's name that stars it? It's a British actress. I can't remember her name, but she's like the main character. And then what's that guy's name? He was in Morris Peros and Diego Luna.
Oh, okay.
He's in it.
Sounds like an international cast.
Forrest Whitaker is in it. Great cast. Yeah, that's an excellent story, and it's like self-contained 2-hour movie. Really good. And then the Mandalorian you could watch, really good. There's also the Book of Boba Fett with I forget, it's a New Zealand Maori actor, Tamara Morrison, I think is his name. Excellent.
What do you think about what Donald says here? He says, "Dear Lord, skip the acolyte."
I couldn't get into it. I'm with you, Gooch. Could not get into it. Yep. And I liked Andor. That was really good too. The Obi-Wan Kenobi one was just okay. I mean, Ewan McGregor's very good in it though. But the best is The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal. It's like the story of that Boba Fett type order, and they're they're kind of like their religion. It's not really like their way of life. It's really good.
I will definitely start watching those because I feel like I'm missing out on a very important part of popular culture, and I hate
Yeah.
to be that guy. It's
Skeleton
like
Crew is
I
really
was
cool.
doing a show with
Yeah.
Mike North, and Mike says, Taylor Swift, who is she? Have you ever heard of any of her songs, Aldo? And I'm like, okay, Mike, that's when you know your age here.
I don't know much of her music either, just a few songs here and
But
there. But
you've heard,
yeah.
Shake It Off,
Of
those
course,
songs that are playing all
my
the time.
kids listen, my girls, but
Yeah,
I really enjoyed Olivia Rodrigo's couple albums, man. If you get a chance to listen to them, man, it's like if she was backed by the Violent Femmes, her band.
Oh, wow, cool.
The backing band is killer, man. It's got that 80s retro new wave punk sound, with all these great guitar and organ and keyboard sounds. But yeah, the really good lyrics too, Olivia Rodrigo. But other than that, I'm not
We
much.
gotta invite the Scrolls on. He says his dad had parts in Barbershop
Wow.
2, Dr. Detroit, and More Money. And
Yeah.
then here he said, Against All Hope was Michael Madsen's first movie, and his coach, the black guy, was my father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we talk
I
movies.
don't know Against All Hope. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, reach out to me on Byron.
I like Michael Madsen, though. Yeah, it's great.
Michael Madsen is one of my favorite actors, man.
he's
That
good.
scene in Reservoir Dogs where he cuts that guy's ears off.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of actors could have pulled that off.
Yeah,
He did
crazy.
so because of his style,
Yep.
his movement to the music, the quips that he had. He picks up the
he's
ear.
kind of doing, hello. He's kind of doing B movies now.
Yeah, too bad, right? It's
Yeah.
like his star.
So's like Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson, though,
Yeah.
kind of doing all the B movies.
Right.
Even Liam Neeson now is kind of doing these straight to
Yes,
video.
yes.
you
You
know?
get to a certain age, and the
Yeah.
big paychecks aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
By the way, there were a lot of great things to like about the Substance, and one of them was the opening scene where you see them creating the star of Hollywood star of
The
fame.
Walk of Fame. Yep.
For the Demi Moore character, and then you see over time how it's faded and how, in essence, her career has faded. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice filmmaking in that movie. There's no doubt about it. It's just indulgent is the word for me.
Yep.
It was.
And of course, I watched a lot of football over the
Mm-hmm.
weekend. Of course, from Thanksgiving, on, and I was a little distracted during the Bears game. We got down 16-0. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm back. I was, at work on my cooking, for the day, making
Right.
some food for the family and stuff for Thanksgiving, and then came back. I was like, holy shit! Again, Caleb, we got a chance. So
You know what? I think that what Caleb has given us is that thing that we can't walk away because he might do something tremendous.
I know.
That you want to see live.
Well, it gives you a lot of hope, doesn't he,
There you
Aldo?
go, brother.
Caleb?
There you go. Russell says, I watched a woman's prison movie where a woman in her 20s goes to jail and had great lesbian sex scenes. I can't remember the name. Do you know? I hope somebody knows,
Like
because if
100
you're
of those
saying
movies?
jail and lesbian sex scenes, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in too. I'm in. Russell,
Please
Russell,
pick
you
up
better
that
get us that name before the end of the show.
please. my wife's already in bed, so please.
Yeah, I had a really good weekend though. Over the weekend, it's like
Good. I'm
with
glad.
sports wagering. It was like
Okay, that's what
I made like $400 on Sunday.
Sweet.
Boom.
And I
Yeah.
think you said the week before you did.
Yeah,
all
man,
that,
did
too.
good on the week before too. I was like, I bought the girls Christmas presents with that money.
Love it.
Boom.
It's called Weekend Sports Betting Tips, Friday at
Fridays.
6 p.m. Central. And then you can watch it on demand. So if you don't catch it live, catch it later in the night so that it can better prepare you for your weekend sports betting.
Yep.
Tooch is hot, and his two co-hosts are always, at the very least, informative, and will help you make your bet if you don't want to take their advice. At
Sean
least you
Higgs
got
is
that
one of the
information.
sharpest guys I know.
Sean is tremendous.
Very sharp. Yep. We're so lucky that he does the show on the network.
Oh my gosh,
He
you're
does a
kidding.
ton of shows. He really likes shooting the shit with me and Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He popped in the chat for one of our shows. I'm forgetting which one it was, and he said, "Now that clown coach is gone, take the Bears and
I love the Bears
and
this
the 6.5
weekend.
points.
Yeah, 6.5. I'll take them against the 49ers are struggling.
Yeah.
They're so banged up now. Christian McCaffrey's out. Of course, I like that rookie that they have running the ball, who's really fast, big and fast. But Christian McCaffrey was such a smart player.
Yeah,
Really so fast, great hands, great runner. But he went down. He's out.
Hey, I would love it if you invited Sean for one of our upcoming Wednesday shows, Baylor with Soulz. We could, and if you want to invite the entire weekend sports betting crew, that would be a lot of fun. We can talk about sports betting, but also they have great knowledge in football and sports in general that we can talk about. And I'd love to get their takes on what they watch when they're away from the gambling table, what they watch in terms of movies and TV shows. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, do you have some guests you wanted to bring on coming up?
Yes.
Kaplan, I wish I knew Kaplan was going to be on. It was like 8:20. I'm like working on my rewrites and stuff. It's like, oh shit, I got to turn it on and see what's going on. I see Kaplan there. I'm like, oh shit, man, I would like to jump on with Kaplan.
I really wanted.
I'm a huge fan.
Live. Yeah, I really wanted him to be live with us.
Oh, it wasn't live. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I
didn't
him
know.
At 4 p.m. Central.
Okay.
But if you're available for some of these, because I'm sure some of these guests are only going to want to do it over business hours. So if you could take 20, 30 minutes off from your regular job to join us in the interview, that would be fun.
I've had to work from home a lot just with my mom,
right. How is she, by the way?
Looks like she's doing a little bit better, but she's still, she needs like full care. She can't dress herself. She can barely walk. Although she's starting to walk a little bit better, but she needs help like bathing, getting dressed. She needs the handicap bus to get to dialysis, 3 times a week. And then she comes back. She's really weak after that. And, it's just, it's tough for her. But, my wife does a lot of heavy lifting. So,
well, I was just going to say, it's not just tough for her. It's tough for you and your wife, to provide that kind of care. It's very, very
My
difficult.
6-year-old does a lot too. She's like, she'll like take grandma's pants off and put them on, take the diaper off, put it on,
Well, she might have a job taking my diapers off because I'm headed that way. And my wife and
they have no filter either, the kids. They're like, Grandma, you stink. Because she doesn't bathe all that often.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I have been looking at, because I'm in my mid-60s now. We've been looking at what long-term care looks like in case I have to or later she does. She's 5 years younger.
Never be prepared enough for this, Aldo.
Oh my God, it's so fucking expensive.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's like for a good facility, it's $15,000 a month.
Yep.
It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
you need it sucks. It sucks.
You
Medicare
young guys, fuck you all.
Yeah, Medicare will be like we have to reform this kind of Medicare and Medicaid. First of all, Medicaid is too low of a threshold. You can only be making $1,400 a month to. It's for the very poorest of poor,
right.
But if you make if you're like my mom only has like $1,800 in Social Security, and a very small pension, and it's less than $2,000 a month. Tell me what you can afford for $2,000 a month as far as like housing, utilities, food, anything. You can't. $2,000 a month. That's poverty level.
Absolutely.
They need to refocus what the poverty level is again. I think it's a lot higher than 1,400 now.
Absolutely.
So
Cliff says his mom-in-law just went back to Colorado. 5 weeks. It's over. Sorry to hear about that, Cliff. God bless you. God bless her. God bless your wife. And hopefully, if the end is near, hopefully it goes as well as something like that can go.
Yeah. My mom doesn't have anywhere else to go. It's just she was living with my brother. She kind of wore out her welcome there when she was a little bit more robust, let's say. But now it's like, she still is like, I can't live here anymore. It's like we're doing. We kind of don't get up. We'll let me get all this stuff. I don't want you falling again. Or whatever.
Right. Oh my God.
And then the physical therapist comes by, and all of a sudden she's like Superwoman. It's like I can walk.
That's how my mom
going off for the fucking PT. So. You know?
I want to prove to you I don't need to leave
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It's like, don't do that, Ma. Then they're going to kick you off of the Medicare's going to kick you off of the skilled care. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, we need Medicare to stay in, as long as she's got oxygen tank. I have to refill that thing. There's like 2 little tanks, and you can run the hose out from the the main machine. My wife and I put a TV in her room because she wants to stay out in the lounge and watch TV all night.
Yeah.
Like all through to the morning. It's just like, no, you can't. Can't sleep in the chair. So I put her to bed, and then she's got a little TV in there she can watch.
Well, God bless her, and God bless you and your wife for all that work you're doing.
Today she ordered some rosatis for us, though.
Cool.
Rosatis.
Nice.
We had some pasta, pizza, wings, and Italian beef sandwiches. It was nice. Good little dinner.
Cliff Victoria wants to know if you and I are going to come up with intimate details of our sex life now that Dan Aguirre is gone. What are you willing to share?
Aldo and I are old, and it's like, if we have sex, it's like, celebrate good times. Come on.
Absolutely. I could share old sex stories, but there weren't condoms invented back then when I was really prolific with the sex machine stuff. So, that's me. That's me, man. All I had to do.
Old school.
Everybody thought that I was fucking everyone in sight, but if you look at that picture closely, my left hand, I'm actually masturbating right now.
Pocket pool.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever it takes.
It's like the wife and I can find time in our busy schedule to actually have sex.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm 56. So I'll be like, my wife and I still have, intercourse as often as possible.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yeah. Hey, D. Stern says, how about your friends' sex stories? All right, I'll give you one. Every year for a period of my life, we would go down and golf down in Florida in the Miami Beach area. It was me and 3 of my close buddies. And from year to year, one guy dropped out, another guy came in and so forth. So we had a great fucking time. We played like 72 holes of golf a day. And when we didn't, it was because the previous night we were out partying. And so, I don't know if I should share this story. No, I'll leave it for another day. But I will leave you with that tease. Another day from now, John and I will share sex stories, not of ours from our relationships. No way. But we will share our friends' sex stories. Maybe we'll invite them on so they can tell the story.
I'm just hoping I can make it to retirement, Aldo. I got
I hear you.
5-6 more years, and then, I'm retiring.
Scroll says the only action he gets is when his wife falls asleep and he gets born.
I watched that Anthony Jeselnik one stand-up.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was one time where he was like, I forgot one of his jokes was like, people with narcolepsy.
Yeah.
It was like, they fall asleep. And then I woke up and then I realized I was having sex. Like one of my friends had narcolepsy. That's when you fall asleep. And he's like, and then I realized I was suddenly having sex, like with an asleep body.
Yeah.
It's like some of his jokes take a while to get. It was really good, man.
He's
kind of like a hard ass, He
really
doesn't look
is.
like a hard ass. He's like,
He did a great interview. It was okay, actually. It wasn't a great interview because I think Dan Lebatard, a guy who I like a lot, I think he dropped the ball on the interview. But he interviewed Jeselnik, and Jeselnik kind of revealed how he developed the character and that how it is important for him not to smile during the comedy bit because he wants to give that aura that he is an ill-feeling, non-feeling observer of life. And that's why he makes all these jokes about killing babies and stuff.
I know.
It's wild.
It's so funny. I laughed. There was a few times I was really laughing, but it was Saturday. We had like a second Thanksgiving. We had all the Filipino workers over who were, overseas working here. We had, they brought food, and my wife and I cooked and stuff. And we were watching. Do you know who comedian Joe Coy is? He's like a Filipino comedian.
You told me about him last week.
Got a lot of
I wrote his name down.
Yeah, he did a really great. I put on one of his things. There was one he did like a short little commercial. It was like one of those home shopping networks. He's like Filipino Tupperware set he was selling for like $99.99. It was all like empty containers, like Panera bread, fucking, just like stuff once you emptied the food, you washed it out. He was selling it as a set. It's like that's what Filipino people do. They save all the fucking empty containers and use it like Tupperware. And then he's like, he did
that's
a
a
good
Puerto
riff
Rican thing too.
He did a good riff on the pandemic where he was talking about, wearing the mask and all this stuff and Filipinos' life and stuff during the pandemic. That was pretty funny. And then we watched a really great, and you would really like this, Aldo. You'll have to see it's on Netflix. I forget not Netflix. It's on YouTube. It's called Wonders of the Philippines.
Oh,
and it was like all of the best, like most beautiful spots in Philippines.
Nice.
It's like an hour long. It's like a travel video, but it also has like a lot of history and stuff too, like MacArthur. Magellan died in Cebu. There's all the waterfall areas. These beautiful, crystal clear water and white sand beaches and turquoise. Just beautiful mountains, volcanoes, and stuff. It takes you all around the islands and stuff. And we were watching it with all the families. They're like, I'm from here, and stuff.
Very cool.
They really enjoyed it too, but
very cool.
Can't wait to do some island hopping when I'm retired down there.
Yeah, well, this is Bear Their Souls with Johnny Santucci and me, Aldo Gandia. David Kaplan was our host. As the weeks turn on, we're going to mold the show into, hopefully what you like and what we like. And it's one of my, I love challenges like this, which is creating a show from the ground up. And now that Dan Aguirre is gone, we were asked by Russell, where did Dan go? Tooch killed him. He murdered him. Where do you have him buried right now, Tooch?
He had enough of Bear State of Affairs killed him. It was like, I don't know how I keep writing these things, man. It's like it's hard.
You do a great job.
It's hard, but I think if I were to posthumously, if you're someone to release these, it would be a nice chronicle of some of the game weekends and stuff. I remember that.
Absolutely. You know what? 2 weeks ago, you had another one of your great Bear State of Affairs, and I started to edit, and I like to kind of add some bells and whistles to it, and I got distracted, and then I looked at it again. Should I finish it? And I was like, it's kind of old news now, and I hate myself that I don't turn around these edits of your Bear State of Affairs because people love them. I love them, and people should watch them without the other stuff in our show. But my point is that John and I will mold the show over the next few weeks, and hopefully it'll be something that you guys will like.
Yes, we got plenty of guests we could tap into. There's Aaron.
Absolutely.
There's always an Aaron Mikulski or a Joe Mandel.
Absolutely, and Steven Zimmerman has offered.
Loves him.
He says he's free on Wednesday, which was kind of an elbow saying I could be a co-host if needed. So
I'd love to be on sometime with the Johnny Buffone. I've never been on with him. I love him too. I know he and I are still, kind of buddies and stuff, but we haven't done a show together. And then
isn't that wild? I never thought of that.
I love me some Danny Shimon when it's time to talk draft.
Yes,
I can't wait to put in some input. Especially during draft time, there's plenty of people like Janny Shimmerman or Aberlissimo, to pop in, or Aaron Current, Chris Watts, plenty of folks.
We got a great catalog of people working here at the Barroom Network and a great catalog. I was looking through my X feed and the amount of people with fairly recognizable names like David Haw and David Kaplan and so forth, they follow my X account. So I have the ability to send them a direct message and ask them on the show. So I'm going to take advantage of that.
We should have Steven Zimmerman and Heidi Zimmerman on at the same time. Like we could call it something like Bear Their Souls with the Zimmermans.
With the Zimmermans, right.
Something like that,
Yes. I told my wife today, and I mentioned this in the chat, that I was, I might consider a co-host for the first hour of the show when you're not here. But that I was really interested in finding somebody with really big tits. Well, that was about 7 p.m. She didn't talk to me. And usually when I come downstairs to do the show, she says, have a good show. I didn't even get that. All right. The Willis Twin Towers, by the way, their show on Friday, which is right after the weekend sports betting tips, they're going to have as their guest Herb Howard of the Bigs.
Love Herbie.
Herbie is, and he's a guy that I
Herbie.
want desperately on this show.
Yeah,
But
that'd be awesome.
I was going to ask him, but they beat me to it, so I'll wait a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I would love to talk to Herbie. And one of the things that I want to say to Herb Howard is he asked the best question to Matt Eberflus this season. I wish I had it queued up.
Yeah, I remember that. I can't remember what he asked, but I remember him making a big splash.
Yes. I mean, he basically said, are you willing to risk your NFL head coaching career by keeping Shane Waldron around? I was like, holy shit. Do you know the cojones it takes to ask a question
That's
like
that? If God came down from heaven, said, would you cut your hair?
Exactly. That was a great question. He always asks great questions. So he will be on with the Twins Friday at 7 p.m. Central. D. Starren asks, do you know any cool female guests? Yeah, I'm trying to get a stripper. Well, no.
It'd be great if we get Courtney Cronin or someone on the beat.
I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask Courtney.
Yeah,
I'm going to
that would
ask.
be amazing.
I'd love to ask Colleen.
Alyssa
Payne.
Barbieri.
Alyssa Barbieri would be
She's
great.
always writes some great articles on Bears Wire, right?
Right. Who else? Do you guys suggest anybody? Let me know in the chat.
Greg Braggs Jr. would pop in.
Greg would pop in. Absolutely.
Little Greggy Sunshine.
Greggy Sunshine.
That's what
absolutely. I think Adam Rank will stop by.
Phil and I used to call him Greggy Sunshine.
Great nickname because he really is.
Yeah.
Sunshine. I mean, this guy has got such a positive attitude. It's weird because his ex account, Twitter account, over the last year or so, I've sensed that he is getting angrier than he normally is, than he is in real life. When you're talking to him, the guy is a bundle of energy. But
I followed a thread where he was like having it out with some fans and stuff about stuff.
Yeah, I was like, this is not Gregory Sunshine.
He's like, you guys, blah, you guys do that. Yeah.
So he's doing great work, and all of us should be pulling for him because he's basically the latest version of the Mike North story. Mike North was a hot dog stand owner who worked his way into being a sports broadcaster at WSCR, the Score Sports Radio, in the 80s and 90s, and he's making $2 million a year.
He basically invented sports talk radio in Chicago.
Yeah, he was the highest.
Danny Lee and Mitch Rosen would go to eat hot dogs at his stand because it was around the corner from XRT on North Cicero, Belmont.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
North
it's a great
Cicero.
story, and Greg is living that dream now. He went from bricklayer to podcast superstar. So we love him, and we wish him even more success.
I didn't live
Kramer.
too far from there, when I lived over in Portage Park. It wasn't too far from XRT, Six Corners. I was near there.
I wasn't too far either, and my mom was right down the block. She was on Belmont and a couple of streets before Pulaski, Linden. I think it was
Linden.
called.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
old Irving area.
Yep. Eric Kramer would be a great guest as well, and we've had him on before. If we have him on again, I know that Dan Aguirre will somehow miss work and want to be a part of that. So we'll definitely, I can't promise anything, but we'll definitely work on getting some really good guests for you and providing those Tooch Bears State of Affairs, which is always the highlight of the show, and giving you all the latest news from Halas Halls. So we'll continue that on Wednesdays with Bear Their Souls. Tooch, I love you.
Hopefully watch some of those S. Craig Zoller movies we can talk about. The Vince Vaughn and Brawl and Cellblock 99. If Barflies haven't seen it, it's really good. Don Johnson and Vince Vaughn. And then the Bone Tomahawk has got a great cast with Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, and Richard Jenkins, Matthew Fox. Yeah, that's great.
That wasn't in that paper I threw away, Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, you were the one that brought it up. It's like, have you guys heard about this Bone Tomahawk?
Yes, I want to watch that.
Yeah, I need to watch. God, what is the name of that movie? I saw a breakdown of Captain Blood with Errol Flynn, and that was one I'd never seen. It was 1935. Then I read a little bit more. I was like, I didn't know Errol Flynn was Australian.
No, that's right.
Yeah. So I got to see that one. That's a movie that would I would like to see updated.
Yeah, right.
like a
I agree
current,
with you.
swashbuckler.
So did you see that Earl Flynn version recently?
No, I haven't seen.
Oh, okay.
I saw someone breaking it down. As how it was a really important film.
Gotcha.
At
Well,
the
if
time.
you do watch it, let me
You
know.
seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it, and
Okay.
I'll invite Mike North on because that's his favorite movie of all
Is it?
time. Yes.
Oh my God.
It made
Wow.
such an impression on him when he was
Yeah.
a kid. So I would love to hear you
Okay.
with fresh eyes looking at it, talk to
Yeah.
him who's watched it repeatedly over decades.
Yep.
Be fun.
That'd be awesome. Yep.
All right,
Well,
everybody. John and I will be back next week. We love
I'm
you.
gonna
Thank
go.
you
I
for
know
joining us live
it's
on
only
chat.
10. I'm gonna go try watch that Love Lies Bleeding movie real quick.
Please do.
Yeah.
I really think
Upstairs.
you'll love it. Somebody said I don't like Kristen Stewart anymore. You might like her in this scene. She's got 3 fantastic lesbian scenes. Oh wow.
Yeah, I forgot. I saw her in like a movie. It was like a deep sea diving one. She was really good, and she had like a blonde crew cut.
Yeah. I
I think it
remember
was
the movie. I
called
have not
Sea
seen
Fever.
it though.
I think
Yeah.
it was called Sea Fever.
Oh, I thought you said
really
Sea
good.
Beaver.
Sea Fever.
Well, I'd love to see her beaver anytime, or Eva, or whatever.
That was
Anyway,
really good.
we'll see you all next week.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Aldo. Catch you later.